You know that feeling, right? That little voice that insists you have to face every single challenge totally alone. Like asking for help somehow means you're, I don't know, failing.
Hmm.
And if you didn't do it all by yourself, somehow the achievement just doesn't count. Such a common idea, this lone wolf thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's surprisingly deep-rooted, this belief that if someone else helps, it somehow lessens your accomplishment. It often leads to what you could call like a phone-a-friend phobia, you know, that feeling of embarrassment, maybe shame, or just a straight-up fear of being turned down. Maybe you reached out once, really put yourself out there and got nothing. Or worse, some kind of sarcastic remark that sticks with you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. And then there's that other side, the burden of trying to be completely self-sufficient. We tend to keep our struggles locked up tight, thinking we're, sparing our loved ones worry. But it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Someone said it perfectly. Let me decide how I want to show up for you. By hiding things, we actually stop people from giving that genuine care we might really need. And let's be honest, that whole just love yourself idea, it means well, but for someone who's faced real neglect or trauma, it just falls short.
It really does. Humans, fundamentally, we weren't built for constant isolation. There's a deep, neurological need for connection, for love from others. It's not just a bonus, it's essential. Think about babies. Studies show that loving touch is literally vital for their nerve cells to grow and connect properly. It shapes everything from the start. So yeah, regardless of how much self-love you have, being alone genuinely hurts, that lone wolf thing. It's not just tough, it actually goes against our basic human design.
Okay, so today we're really going deep on this. We're exploring why connection isn't just, nice to have, but absolutely vital for our health, for healing, for growing as people. Our mission here is to unpack why social support is so necessary. We'll look at the honestly surprising benefits. It's almost like a superpower. We'll break down the different kinds of support and, importantly, give you some real practical ways to build a network that truly supports you. It's about empowering you to find and cultivate the community you deserve, moving past that isolating idea of having to do it all alone.
Right. And if you look at what makes people strong, it almost always comes back to connection. Take resilience, for instance. We often picture resilience as this, inner strength, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But the really fascinating thing, and maybe counterintuitive if you're stuck in that lone wolf mindset, is that resilience isn't just in us, it's often between us. Research consistently shows the quality of our close relationships is a huge factor in how resilient we are when things get tough. Adversity, trauma, major stress.
So it's less about bouncing back solo and more about who's standing beside you while you do it. That makes sense.
And that starts really early, doesn't it? Childhood attachments.
Exactly. Secure attachments in childhood lay critical groundwork. Just having one consistent, caring adult can make a massive difference in how a child faces challenges later on. Those early experiences of feeling supported and safe build a foundation for lifelong resilience. It's almost wired into us.
Wow. Okay. And these benefits, they're not just feelings, right? They're physical.
Oh, absolutely tangible. They impact our actual biology. Good support networks actively lower stress. They remind us we're not alone, help us manage tough times. And the impact is broad. Poor social support is linked to higher risks of depression, loneliness, even changes in brain function, problems with alcohol, heart disease, and sadly, suicide. On the flip side, strong social and emotional support. It's been directly linked to living longer, like in studies of middle-aged men. It can genuinely be a matter of life and death. That's incredibly powerful. It really drives home how essential connection is, mentally and physically. Does this apply in specific situations too, like, say, recovering from an injury or illness, beyond just the emotional boost?
Yes, definitely. Emotional support is fundamental during rehabilitation. It helps people handle the psychological side of recovery, managing stress, dealing with frustration. It actively helps prevent things like depression or anxiety from getting worse, which can actually slow down physical healing. Plus, it boosts motivation, helps people stick to their treatment plans, and supports those lifestyle changes needed for long-term health. It's like a vital ingredient in the recovery process.
Okay, so it helps us recover but also move forward. Does that motivational aspect extend to other areas, like personal growth, changing habits?
It absolutely does. When your social circle actively backs you up, reaching your goals becomes so much more achievable. Think about healthy habits. Diet, exercise, quitting smoking, social groups have a huge influence on those behaviors. It's also a massive help in coping with stress. Just knowing you have supportive people around makes dealing with life's curveballs feel more manageable. And research even shows that strong support during a crisis can lessen the impact of trauma-related conditions like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that is.
That's really significant. So whether it's huge life events or just daily struggles, having people in your corner makes a real difference. And it makes sense, too, that sharing goals, like weight loss or breaking a habit, with others would boost motivation. You're not just doing it for yourself. There's a shared energy, maybe some accountability. We've established the sheer power of connection and why ditching that lone wolf idea is so important. But support itself, it's not just one thing, is it? It seems like there are different types. And knowing the difference is key to, well, getting it right, both giving and receiving. Let's break that down.
Exactly. And it's helpful to first distinguish between social support and social integration. Social support is about the resources your network provides, like advice, practical help, emotional comfort. Social integration is more about your active involvement and feeling like you belong in different groups, family, partners, clubs, community stuff, even online groups. Both are vital for well-being, but they play slightly different, though complementary, roles.
That's a useful distinction.
Yeah.
Okay, so within social support itself, you mentioned 4 main types. Let's start with the one most people probably think of, emotional support.
Right. Emotional support is fundamentally about comfort, empathy. It's that hug when you need it, someone truly listening without jumping in to fix things, validating your feelings, maybe just saying, yeah, I've been there too, or simply being present. The real power here is how it can literally calm your nervous system. It shifts you from feeling anxious and alone to a state where healing can actually start. It's not just comforting, it's like neurologically necessary when you feel isolated.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's esteemed support. What does that look like?
The esteemed support is like having your own personal cheerleader. It's someone expressing genuine belief in you, encouraging you when you doubt yourself, pointing out strengths you might overlook. It's giving sincere compliments, celebrating your wins, big or small, and crucially, helping you challenge that negative inner voice. Think of a great coach or a really supportive therapist, that uplifting energy.
Got it. Cheerleader support. Next up, informational support.
This is about guidance, advice, sharing knowledge or facts. It could be suggesting a good book, explaining something complex, teaching a skill, or directing you to helpful resources, like asking, hey, do you like your therapist? Are they taking new clients? That kind of thing. It helps reduce uncertainty and powers better decision-making.
Makes sense. And the last one is tangible support, sometimes called instrumental support.
Exactly. This is the practical, hands-on help. Someone bringing over dinner when you're sick, giving you a ride, helping with chores, maybe lending you some needed cash. It tackles those immediate, practical problems you might be struggling to handle alone at that moment.
Okay, so 4 distinct types. But here's the thing. Getting the wrong type of support can be really unhelpful, right?
Oh, absolutely crucial point. The type of support needs to match the need. Giving advice, even well-meaning advice, when someone just needs to vent and feel heard, that can feel invalidating, like you're not really listening. There was a study, actually, on people with inflammatory bowel disease. It found that getting unsolicited advice often made them feel worse, not better. So it's not just about getting support, it's about getting the right kind of support for what you're going through right then.
That's such a good point. Sometimes just showing up and listening, truly listening without trying to fix it, is the most helpful thing. It's a real skill. Which leads us to this. It's really not fair to expect people to be mind readers. You need to communicate clearly, specifically, about what kind of help you actually need for it to work well. All right, so we know why we sometimes default to going it alone, why connection is so critical, and the different kinds of support available. Now, the big one. How do you actually ask for it? Because honestly, that often feels like the biggest hurdle, especially if you're used to being super self-reliant. But here's a perspective shift. Asking isn't being a burden. It's actually an opportunity for real connection.
That reframing is so important. When you open up, you're not just receiving help, you're letting someone else show up for you. That act itself strengthens a relationship. And it doesn't always have to be this huge dramatic declaration.
Exactly. Sometimes when you're really feeling it emotionally, being direct works best. You could try something like, hey, I'm really not doing okay. Would you have some time just to talk? It would help. Or maybe, I'm feeling super overwhelmed about this specific thing. Could I just run it by you and see what you think? Even acknowledging the difficulty can help. Like, this is kind of hard for me to talk about. I'm not even sure how to say it. But could we try?
And if being that direct feels like too much, there are softer ways to ease into it. You could say, Feeling a bit off lately, want to catch the game later or grab a movie, just seeking connection. Or, look, I don't necessarily need advice, but could I just word vomit for a minute about this thing I'm dealing with? That gives them permission to just listen.
Those are really practical scripts.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to signal you're not quite okay, right? Without a big announcement. Maybe use an icebreaker. Like, hey, feels like ages since we had a proper catch-up. When are you free? Or even humor. Is Mercury retrograde messing with your month as much as mine?
Mhm.
Or self-deprecatingly, okay, I haven't showered in 4 days. How bad is that? It opens the door for them to ask, hey, you okay?
Yeah, those little signals can work well, even for small things. Casual asks are fine. Can I just vent for a second, need to get this out? Or simply, hey, I need an assist here, like now. No. The point is opening the conversation. Then you can clarify what you need.
And what about at work, where you maybe need to keep things a bit more professional?
You can still ask effectively. Maybe, I'm trying to figure out how to manage these new responsibilities alongside my current workload. Could you perhaps help me prioritize? Or the classic, simple, can I borrow your brain for a few minutes on this?
Okay, so lots of ways to initiate.
Hmm.
But the key thing, once you've started that conversation, seems to be specificity.
Absolutely. Always try to guide the person by being clear about what kind of support would be most helpful right now. Do you need them to listen? Offer advice, distract you, help with a task. Being specific makes it so much easier for them to give you what you actually need.
Okay, so we get why connection matters. We have strategies for asking. But how do you actually build this network, this tribe? How do you move from feeling isolated to having that support system? Where do you start?
It really begins with some honest looking inward. Take stock of your current circle. Think about the relationships you already have, family, friends, maybe colleagues. Are they meeting your needs right now? Who are these people and what kind of support, if any, do they offer? Just getting clear on the current landscape is step one.
That makes sense. Assess the situation first, because this support system, it's not just going to appear out of thin air, right?
Yeah.
You have to be like intentional,
Yeah.
proactive.
Exactly. You have to actively cultivate it. Make the call. Send the text just checking in. Invite someone for coffee. And remember, it flows both ways. Offer help to others. Sometimes casually mentioning you could use an extra pair of hands on something can open doors too. You're showing vulnerability and modeling that it's okay to need help.
Like tending a garden, you said earlier, needs consistent effort. What about finding new connections?
Yeah, leverage existing communities or seek out new ones. Join a club related to a hobby you love. Take a class at a community college. Volunteer for something you believe in. These often have built-in networks because you already share an interest, which makes connecting feel more natural.
And online. Is that a viable option?
It definitely can be. Things like Discord servers for specific interests, or even support groups for particular challenges, like, say, groups for trauma survivors. You can find people who really get it. Friend-finding apps are out there too, though, always use good judgment and be cautious meeting new people, online or off.
Right. And central to all of this building is vulnerability, isn't it? That seems to be the core.
It really is. Vulnerability is the absolute cornerstone of deep, meaningful relationships. And yeah, it's scary. That fear of rejection is real. But you don't have to dive into the deep end immediately. Start small. Share little bits of yourself. See how people respond. Building trust often involves having those slightly uncomfortable conversations, being willing to sit with discomfort, and making a conscious choice to let people in. It's definitely a process.
And part of that process is managing expectations. Like,
Yeah.
one person can't be everything.
Precisely. It's totally unrealistic and unfair to expect one person to meet all your emotional needs. That's way too much pressure. A truly strong support system is usually diverse. Different people offer different things. Some friends are great for fun and lightness. Others are who you call in a crisis. Some offer practical help. It's about building a varied network, not finding one single superhero.
Okay, so building and asking are key. But then how do you sustain these connections? Keep them healthy. When you talk about boundaries, they seem crucial but often misunderstood.
Oh, absolutely essential. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about creating a healthy structure for your relationships and protecting your own well-being. Think of them as guidelines for how you expect and deserve to be treated. They basically communicate, my needs matter too. Like you said, they're invisible lines. So unlike country borders, they have to be communicated clearly. People can't know what you don't tell them.
So how do we actually do that? How do we set and maintain healthy boundaries effectively? Where does it start?
Again, it starts with self-reflection. Get clear on what you truly want and need. What are your core values? For example, if you know you need quiet time to recharge because you value inner peace, understanding why makes upholding that boundary feel less selfish and more essential. Knowing your why gives you conviction.
Okay, know yourself first, then look at your relationships.
Exactly. Evaluate your current relationships. Are they generally meeting your needs? Could introducing or adjusting boundaries create a better balance, making the connection feel healthier for everyone involved? It's about optimizing, not criticizing.
And then comes the communication part, which we touched on. Needs to be clear.
Super clear. As clear and straightforward as you can be. Ambiguity is the enemy of boundaries. If it's vague, it's up for interpretation, and that's where resentment and disappointment creep in. People need to know where the line actually is.
Makes sense. And once you've stated it clearly, consistency is key.
Consistency is everything. It's really your job to gently uphold the boundary when it gets crossed. It doesn't have to be aggressive. Like if someone keeps calling during your designated quiet time, you don't have to ignore them or get angry. You could calmly say, hey, I appreciate you reaching out, but like I mentioned, this is my focused work time. Can I call you back around time? It reinforces the boundary, respectfully but firmly.
And underlying all of this is self-worth, how you see yourself.
Fundamentally, yes. If you don't believe you deserve respect or support, setting boundaries feels almost impossible, or at least brings up massive guilt. Practicing self-care, which absolutely includes boundary setting, reinforces that sense of worthiness. It sends yourself the message, I matter, my needs are valid, I deserve respect. When you feel that internally, setting external boundaries becomes much more natural, coming from a place of self-respect, not defensiveness. And remember, boundaries aren't rigid forever. As you grow and your relationships change, your boundaries might need to evolve too.
Wow. Okay, so we have covered a lot today. We've really dug into this idea that fundamentally you're not meant to navigate life entirely alone. That whole lone wolf idea, however romanticized it might seem, just isn't sustainable. It goes against our basic human wiring, building a support system. That's not weakness. It's actually an act of incredible courage, and it leads to real healing, lasting growth, and honestly, a much richer life.
Absolutely. And this journey, cultivating that support system, it's ongoing. It takes conscious effort, that willingness to be vulnerable we talked about, and committing to clear communication and those healthy boundaries. But the benefits being more resilient, boosting your physical and mental health, finding that deep sense of belonging, they are truly immeasurable. You really don't have to improve or heal all by yourself.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about, a little takeaway from our conversation today. What's one specific intentional step you feel drawn to take right now? Maybe it's reaching out for a particular kind of support, using one of those phrases we discussed. Or perhaps it's about nurturing a connection you already have, investing a little more energy there. Whatever feels right for you, consider taking that one small step. Because truly, none of us are meant to do this life completely alone.